Last Thoughts 3. A Perfect Saturday. Thomas clung to the steering wheel for dear life. Maybe 81 miles per hour wasn't such a good idea. He recalled picking up their new car 7 weeks earlier, the very vehicle in which the Glitters and their dogs were now barrel rolling in midair. A talking lady in a navy blue uniform with Veronica on her name tag stood next to Thomas in front of a red ribbon on a blue vehicle's bonnet. His mop of hair bounced as he nodded with arms folded and thumb and forefinger rubbing his chin. Audrey, Mom, a stainless steel pearl piercing lifted on the tall girl's brow as she rolled her emerald eyes under her jacket's hood. When's she going to stop talking? Keep your voice down, Chelsea, Audrey whispered, her hair resting on her corduroy jacket's shoulders. She bounced her baby, a yellow beanie with Felix embroidered protruding from his kangaroo pouch. How's the pearl? Okay, I guess. Chelsea touched the piercing on her brow and flinched. Still sensitive, though. She inspected her fingernails, alternately painted black and pink. They said 6 to 8 weeks, remember, said Audrey. The swelling's a lot better, if you say so. Why don't you explore the car's sound system? But, Mom, we've already bought the car. Why can't we... Shh! You'll wake Felix. She locked eyes with her daughter, then looked down and kissed the beanie. The girl wandered through the white showroom. Best safety features in her class, Professor Glitter, Veronica said, restoring the red ribbon to its original position on the blue bonnet. Yes, indeed, Veronica. That's why we bought the vehicle. And, please call me Thomas. He made eye contact with his wife. Felix whimpered and Audrey zoned in on their son's needs. Let me take a family photo in front of the vehicle for our social media. The sales lady lifted her phone. Audrey shook her head at Thomas. He cleared his throat. No thanks, Veronica. We are not really comfortable. Airbags. Veronica raised her voice. Tightening seat belts and rear and front crumple zones engineered to significantly reduce impact. Impressive, Thomas said. However, we don't intend to make use of the safety features. Thank you very much. He invited a smile from his wife and sparked Veronica's practiced hearty laughter. Chelsea returned, got into the driver's seat and closed the door. Oh my word, she thought, slim fingers caressing the steering wheel and dashboard. New car smell and silence. She explored the entertainment system, dropped her jacket hood and tightened her Sunday ponytail in the crystal rearview mirror. Best of all, Thomas, she has active suspension and all-wheel drive, courtesy of cutting-edge Formula One technology. Thomas looked at his wristwatch, then at his wife. Her lips formed the words, "Let's get out of here. Pancakes for brunch." She thumb-pointed to the exit. Minutes later, they were the only vehicle on the newly tarred Forester Highway, travelling from the city centre to the suburbs. Ah, it's like they resurfaced this road just for us, Thomas remarked, marvelling at the bright early autumn morning. Why couldn't that blue suit lady just shut up and give us the keys? Chelsea glared at the trees racing past, their early autumn leaves dripping red, yellow and brown. It was like she wanted to sell the car to us all over again. Felix cooed in his baby seat while gnawing at a blue chew toy. She was just doing her work, girl. Her father's eyes appeared in the passenger side cosmetic mirror. Hey, no nicknames, Thomas Glitter. Chelsea shot him a dagger look, emerald eyes flashing. It was a bit weird, love, Audrey said, patting her husband's leg before placing her hand back on the steering wheel. Aha, here's another possibility, Thomas said, like a philosopher formulating a premise. The other people in the showroom were still deciding. Veronica used the opportunity to impress them. It is called non-sale selling. He made air quotes. What is your opinion on this insight of mine, young lady, Chelsea? Duh, you're such a professor. Distinguished Professor of Literature, no less. Said Chelsea. She was telling you a cautionary tale, little Tommy Glitter. Little Red Ribbon Hood and the Highway Wolf, a bedtime story for scared little adults. Ooh. Insightful, Miss Glitter, and stellar wordplay, Thomas said with clown eyes in the mirror. Chelsea avoided her father's gaze. Mom, put on some music. I'm driving. DJ Thomas? He spoke into a cupped hands megaphone. Conductor Thomas to the podium, please. He pressed the power button, tapped an imaginary baton on the dashboard, and searched for a suitable station. Chelsea shook her head. Da-da-da-da! Beethoven's Fifth Symphony burst through the speakers. Felix gasped, dropped his chew toy, battered his eyelids, and pulled a scream face with red rising in his cheeks. Ah, Thomas inhaled. Beethoven, a new car smell. Bellissimo! He waved his make-believe baton. Do you call that music? Chelsea flipped her hood over her head, cupping her hands over her ears. Somebody kill me now. Her parents squeezed each other's hands. Thomas winked at his wife during a split second of eye contact. Felix started wailing. I feel you, brother. The baby boy's fingers closed around Chelsea's pinky. Audrey reached for her son with one hand. I'll do it, dear. You're driving, Thomas said as he lowered the volume and drummed flutter fingers on the rim of Felix's baby seat. The boy returned to his rubber toy project, working his first teeth into the world. Da-da, bubbled Felix. Ha! I told you his first word would be dada, Thomas said. Excuse me, Professor Glitter, that's completely incorrect, retorted Chelsea. When Felix points at something, he says da-da, which means there, of course. He has clearly said Chelsea, though. Chelsea, to be precise. She leaned over to her brother, offering an index finger. He gripped it with surprising strength. Felix, say Chelsea, she said, his brown eyes locked with her emerald soul windows. He kicked and babbled at the sight of his big sister, tugging her hand towards his open, drooling mouth. Chelsea giggled and rescued her fingers from becoming lunch. Two dogs fight over a bone, Audrey joined the debate. And then Felix's first word turns out to be Mama. I bet you a whole batch of cupcakes. If we're talking chocolate caramel cupcakes, said the girl, drooling like her brother, I'll stop teaching him to say Chelsea right now. Chelsea and her parents laughed. The toothless boy echoed them, then returned to his rubber teething project. Two trucks passed the Glitter's shiny first-trip vehicle, heading the other way into the city, one carrying new cars, the other an assortment of wrecks. Wow, just look at all those wrecked cars, Chelsea said. Indeed, reckless driving leads to wrecks, Thomas said, his jester eyes appearing in the cosmetic mirror. But Chelsea ignored him. And it's clear they don't have Formula One safety features, he quipped, patting the dashboard. But why would they transport wrecks long distance, the girl asked. Surely they could just dump them at the nearest scrapyard? Oh, many reasons, Chelsea, Thomas replied. For instance, inspection by manufacturers, insurers, and so forth. The professor renders useful information for a change, Chelsea said, patting her father's shoulder. In the suburbs, the Glitters drove Saturday slowly past a two-story house with The Smiths at 157 written on a plaque above the mailbox, barely 3 minutes from their home, as the raven flies. I wish we could live in a two-story house, Chelsea thought, eyeing the Smith residence. From a street-facing window on the top floor, the doe eyes of a purple-streaked black-haired girl noticed the blue vehicle glitter gliding past in the early autumn sun. Nice car. Brr. It's so chilly this morning, she thought, before pulling a black beanie over her hair, putting on a second black fleece jacket, and clasping her arms in a self-embrace. She exited her room and closed the door behind her, which sported a red and white sign covered in glitter. The Life of Riley, no entry. 13 minutes after their departure from the auto dealer, Bella and Hamlet welcomed the Glitters home with Jack Russell excitement, dashing around the lemon tree, the blossoming tombstone of the late Dogberry Glitter. "Not again, Mr. Whiskers," Chelsea admonished her tomcat, an explosion of feathers under her bed, courtesy of a mourning dove caught off guard during a mating ritual with his life partner. After clearing the crime scene, Chelsea sang a song about friendship with her ukulele while admiring autumn scenes through her window, then plopped down on her bed to continue reading The Hidden Staircase in the modernized Nancy Drew series. "Chelsea," called her mother. The girl sighed, closing her book. "Come help me with the brunch." Thomas put Felix in the ash tree swing next to the lemon tree, pendulating the boy to dreamland, like an open-air grandfather clock in the early autumn breeze, as he had done with Chelsea years before. The trees shed red, yellow, and brown leaves. Today, Saturday, 7 weeks after their new car's first ride home, more than 8 years after Chelsea's 5th birthday, Chelsea, Felix, Audrey, Thomas, Bella and Hamlet, a box of used toys in the trunk, travelled in their blue 7-week-old family car together for the last time. The red ribbon now a distant memory, to a birthday party and their perfect storm. The storm that would rip the Glitter family in half.